Okay, so in this video we will be learning about the tools that taxonomists, which we just finished learning about, the tools that they use to classify organisms. So they use a few different tools. We'll be learning about 3 different ones. They use cladograms, dichotomous keys, and phylogenetic trees in order to go ahead and help to classify organisms.
Okay, before we jump into the tools, let's review the definition of a species.
Okay, so a species is a group of natural populations that are interbreeding or could potentially interbreed. So, go ahead.
What happens to the case of the liger? When a lion and a tiger breed, they are not the same species, but they are able to make offspring. How is that possible?
Good point. So the union of a lion and a tiger would create a baby that particular little occurrence is actually called a hybrid. So a hybrid would occur.
Aren't hybrids usually sterile, which means they can't have babies?
True. Very good.
Okay.
So now let's talk a little bit about how we use these tools to establish relationships between species.
A cladogram is a branch diagram resembling a tree that shows the evolutionary relationship among organisms.
Cool. So it shows how similarities are derived from common ancestors.
This is an example of a cladogram and how we interpret them.
Okay, so we start off with understanding that on the top part of this is, first of all, this is called a cladogram, right in here. So again, biologists use these branching diagrams called cladograms to group organisms as well as to separate them. So up on top we have the different species, and then down the bottom we have their characteristics and how they differ. So down here we have this, at this node, these guys are called nodes. At this node we have the term mosses. So the mosses are actually probably the most simple organism on this cladogram because they do not have any of these characteristics. They don't have vascular tissue, they don't have seeds, they don't have flowers. So all because this little node fell below these characteristics. Ferns is next. So ferns actually, this is their node right in here. So they have everything below their node. So they have vascular tissue. They have vascular tissue, and that's it. They still do not have seeds. They still do not have flowers. Next up are pine trees. So pine trees, here's their node. So they have seeds and vascular tissue in common with ferns and mosses. So Miss Steele, can you tell me what characteristics do flowering plants have?
Well, just like their name says, flowering plants are going to have flowers.
Great. Just flowers, Miss Steele?
No, they also have seeds.
Good.
And vascular tissues.
Nice job. No. All right, so let me see. So moving right along. Next we have a phylogenetic tree.
Very beautiful.
So a phylogenetic tree shows how animals are related through evolution.
So how does this differ from what we just looked up earlier, the cladogram?
That's a good question. So a cladogram actually shows the specific traits like we saw. Like we saw the seeds, we saw the flowers, so on and so forth. This guy, this phylogenetic tree, he actually infers relationships based upon evolutionary history. So if you see here, we don't have any physical attributes listed out. We have the organisms, but no physical attributes. So we have to infer them. So right in here, something that I would probably put down is right here at this little node. I would probably put down that they are all living organisms. Also, because we've already talked about bacteria a little bit and the kingdom of, the domain of Eukarya, then we should know by now that ourselves and bacteria, things that they might have in common are things like ribosomes and cytoplasm, things of that nature. So all of that could be right here because we all have them in common. So this is a phylogenetic tree. The next type of chart that taxonomists use, but this guy is called a dichotomous key. Go ahead, excuse me.
A dichotomous key is a identification key that contains pairs of contrasting descriptions.
Absolutely. So after each description, there is actually a key that either directs the user to another pair of descriptions or identifies an object. So this one is just a little bit different than the rest. Okay, so the cladograms and the phylogenetic trees, we were all about relationships and how are these guys related based upon traits.
So basically, on the dichotomous key, you always have two options, and you pick one.
Perfect. Very good. And remember that whole die means two characteristics. So with this guy, we actually start with an organism in mind, and then we kind of work our way back to try and figure out what its name is. So our first organism here is a dog. And so, yes, I know that we all know that a dog is a dog. But if we didn't know, let's try and figure out his name. So we always start with number one, always. So number one, is this organism an animal?
Yes.
So therefore the directions tell us,
go to 2.
Perfect. So now we go to 2. Does the organism have wings?
No.
No, so we skip right along, we go down, we skip right along to this one right in here where it does not have wings. So now the directions say to go to where?
6.
Perfect. So now we go to number 6. Does this organism live in the water?
No.
Nope. He lives on land. So now the directions tell us
Go to
to
7.
Okay, does he have fluffy hair?
Some dogs do.
Some dogs do. So we're gonna say yes. We're gonna say our little dog does. Where's my arrow? There's my arrow. So now the directions tell us to
go to 8.
Okay, we go to 8. Is he a common pet?
Yes.
So therefore his scientific name is Canis familiaris.
The common dog.
The common dog, absolutely. So, even here we can take a look at those rules that we talked about a while back about how the genus is capitalized. You see the C is capitalized and the species is not. And it's italicized, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool. So very good. Let me see. Miss Steele, you want to do one? You want to pick one?
Oh, sure. Let's pick the nasty one, the skunk.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, is it an animal?
Yes, he is.
Okay, we go to 2. Does it have wings?
No.
No wings. We go to 6.
Okay.
Okay, 6. Does it live in water?
No.
It lives on land. Go to 7. Does it have fluffy fur?
I've never petted one, but I think so.
Okay.
So we're
Go
going
to 8. Is it a common pet?
No.
Not a common pet.
Not a common pet. It's
So
not
we
my
go
pet.
to...
Oh, and there is his scientific name.
Oh, that was too easy.
Very good. So that is how you use a dichotomous key.
Cool.